Hi and welcome to Module 104 of the Information Lab and Data School's Alteryx for Excel Users Data Skill Training course. My name is Yana Arhibenga and I'm thrilled to have you here. We are going to learn so much together. In this module, you will learn how to translate your Excel knowledge into an Alteryx tools and workflow environment to make your Alteryx journey easier and pick up skills faster. I will cover usage of formulas and functions, data joining and pivoting, formatting and visualization. You can watch this module as a standalone training or as a part of our Alteryx data skills series. If you find this training useful and would like us to help you and your team make sense of your business data, please reach out at info@theinformationlab.co.uk. Check the description for links to these modules, training materials, and also for other useful links that help you level up your data skills. And remember to click subscribe to be first to know about our new videos. Okay, let's jump right in and get started.
Let's get started by opening a starter file called house pricing. You can access all the necessary materials for this tutorial by following the link provided below this video. Feel free to pause this video at any point if you need more time to download the materials or if you find yourself a bit behind. And don't worry about it. Learning at your own pace is essential for understanding the concept thoroughly. Let's briefly show you the ready solution. Complete workflow replicates several functions of Excel, such as splitting and merging columns, performing different calculations, using VLOOKUP function, creating pivot tables, and generating insightful reports. The dataset we are using is sourced from the land registry, specifically the UK house price in Lincolnshire and districts. At the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to build this comprehensive workflow that handles various data manipulations tasks efficiently. Great! Let's move on our first use case, where we'll cover two more important tasks: split and purge columns, reporting period calculation, and additionally we'll also learn how to range prices into categories such as low, medium, and high. Now that we all have the starter file open, let's take a closer look at the data. To do this, right-click on our input tool and add browse tool after it, then run workflow. This will allow us to visually inspect the data and identify any potential inconsistencies or formatting issues. Upon briefly inspection, we can already notice a few areas where the data might be inconsistent. For example, geocode number and geocode letter. The information about the geocode appears to be split into separate columns for letters and numbers. And duration from and duration to, the duration column might have inconsistent format, making it challenging to perform accurate calculations. To fix it, I will start with format standardization for the duration columns to make them both date to ensure consistent analysis. To do this, bring text to column tool next to input one and connect around. Column to split, we have to specify column we decided to split is going to be duration 2 because it contains date and time and we want to get rid of time. And delimiter, it is a space. So to specify a space, we're going to type backslash and s. Then we'd like to split it by 2 columns. So let's increase number 2 and then run our workflow. If you click output anchor, we can see 2 additional columns. Duration 2 contain only data and the second one contain only time format. Now to leave the column only with the right format, I select 2, then I check our time column, we no longer need it, and also duration 2, which contain time and date, and rename duration 2 1 to just duration 2. Run anchor, we can see that now we have duration from and duration to the same date format. Now we'll need to merge geo columns to have a complete geocode in a single column for easier analysis. To do this, I'll bring the formula tool and then the drop-down list, I'm going to select a new column, which is simply name as a geocode. And at the calculation, which is pretty much straightforward, we're gonna summarize geocode letter and geocode number. Start typing geo, and we can see drop-down list, which allows us to choose from existing fields. There's gonna be letter, then plus and do it again with number. We can see data preview here that everything looks correct. Then click run. Okay, click output anchor. Scroll and we can see our complete geocode done. I would like to perform 2 additional calculations for the reported period duration and label the price range for our further analysis. And instead of introducing 2 new formula tools, I prefer to incorporate this calculation within the existing tool. To do it, I'm simply gonna click plus sign to add one more calculation, create new column called reporting period, which is supposed to be the difference between date from and date to. To do this, I'm gonna use datetime functions. The all existing function you can see by clicking function button. They're separated by different section for the conditional, datetime, financial, and mass. Or if you already know them, you can start type datetime and select from the drop-down list. I'm gonna use datetime function. It also gives you some kind of hint that you're using date 1, date 2, and then specify the units you want to calculate different in. So let's specify first date, which is gonna be our duration 2. Second date is gonna be duration from. And units, I'd like to see it in days. Now let's run our workflow to have a look. What we got now? Yeah, we can see that our reporting period calculate nicely in different range of dates, but most of them is 30 or 29 days. One more calculation I'd like to perform is going to be price dividing into the range of relatively low, medium, and high based on price you got in the data. So let's continue step with adding calculation, add new column, call it price range. To label the range of price until low, medium, and high, I'll be using if statement. It's a slightly different from the Excel if statement. So starting standard with if. And here we can see the pre-built if conditional functions for different scenarios. We can use it if you're using Alteryx if statement for the first time. So if you feel confident, you can just keep writing it without these hints. If our average price less or equal 160,000, then I wanna label it low. Else if average price less or equal 190,000, then medium. Else high. And we close function with and if. You can see that the different parts of conditional function, they're highlighted in different colors, and it's some kind of indicator if you're typing everything right or not. So if you're typing a function right, it's going to be highlighted in different colors. If it's not highlighted, it seems like something went wrong. Maybe it's typo or something else. Now let's run our workflow to have a look. Yeah, we can see it's calculated nicely. So now let's use one more select tool to get rid of unnecessary columns. Now when we have a geocode calculated, we no longer need our geocode number and geocode letter separately. So we just simply uncheck it. Excellent. Moving forward, we will now focus on an aggregations use case aiming to calculate the average price by district. This insightful step will enable us to gain a comprehensive understanding of prices, trends, and patterns across different districts, empowering us to make well-informed decisions. For the aggregation in Alteryx, we will efficiently perform the task using the powerful Summarize tool, which is part of the Transform tools. Let's bring it and connect around. This tool allows us to seamlessly consolidate and analyze data, enable us to calculate the average price for each district effortlessly. To do that, I will choose the field I'd like to group by. So it's going to be geo name, which is our district name. Gonna click add. You can see drop down list. There is a manipulation you can choose to do with this field. So I'm gonna group by our district, and then I'd like to add average price. So even if it's called average for now, it is still not aggregated field. That's why I need to choose average. It's gonna be our numeric function and click run. But you might notice that price contains decimals. In Alteryx, you can change data to different types. Some tools allows you to do it while you configure it, such as a formula tool. It doesn't work for Summarize tool, but you can easily do it by using the select tool afterward. bring select tool next to our summarize tool and change our average prices to integer 32 is for numeric value without a decimal equal to 4 bytes. Similar thing for field renaming, but this time summarize tool is an example of those tools you can rename fields directly. Over here, you can click and change it to district average price. And again, you can always use the select tool for renaming and field type and size changing. Now we can see because we change our name at the summarize tool, now the previous field is not available. That's why we need to change date type again for the new field, new called field. Using summarize tool, you also can get rid of unnecessary field that we did before and change field order by using these arrows to make it on top of our journal name, for example. And even you can write a short description for the field, calculated field, for example. Let's run again. Fantastic. And now let's transition smoothly into our third use case by adding the average price of each district back to the dataset. In other words, we'll retrieve data from the aggregated table. For these purposes, we'll be using join tool from the join section, drag it to the view, and connect data to both anchors. To the left one, our entire dataset, and our aggregated table to the right-hand side. So you can think of the join tool in Alteryx as the way to combine data from different Excel spreadsheets, just like the VLOOKUP function, but with superpower. When you have data in multiple Excel sheets or tables and you want to bring them together based on a common column, that's where the join tool comes into play. Instead of using complex formulas like VLOOKUP function, you can simply use the join tool and select the columns you want to match. On the left-hand side, we'd like to match it by our journal name. You can see if the column name matching in both tables, it's going to bring it automatically. You can always change it same way. Join tool allows you to join data by record position or by specific field. That's what we need. And now let's run it and have a look. You can see that join tool contains 3 output anchors, which is name L, J, and R. These Venn diagrams shows you nicely what does exactly do. The left anchor contain the unmatched data from the left data source. J anchor contain everything that match in both tables, and the R, it mean everything that not match from the right table. It's like using VLOOKUP, but on steroids, making data merging a piece of cake. One more cool thing about join tool that you can do everything you can do in select tool, but directly here you can untick different fields if you no longer need, for example, I no longer need the right journal name, do not make it duplicate, so I can untick it manually. Or for example, you can use options and deselect duplicated field, and it's going to do automatically for you. It's really useful when you have a lot of fields you're joining by. Other than that, you can choose the date type, size, rename it, and even put the description as well. It is like using VLOOKUP function but on steroids and making data merge in a piece of cake. Now let's dive into the next step, data pivoting. To perform pivoting, we'll be using transpose tool from the transform section. Let's bring to the view. So let's delete connection and connect to the J anchor instead. Move it a bit. The transpose tool in Alteryx can be thought of as a powerful pivoting feature. In Excel, when you create a pivot table, you can summarize and reorganize your data to get a different perspective on it. This allows you to group and aggregate data based on certain criteria and quickly analyze the result. Similarly, in Alteryx, the transpose tool performs a similar function. It allows you to pivot your data, meaning you can transform it by aggregating, reordering, and summarizing based on specific fields. Furthermore, the transpose tool in Alteryx provides additional flexibility and performance advantages, such as it handles large datasets efficiently, allowing you to pivot extensive data with ease and unlike traditional Excel pivot tables that might slow down with large data sets. The configuration of transpose tool is quite simple. So there is a key column you select, so replicates vertically, and create a row for each data column you select to transpose. It's like a group by field. So for the key columns, I will select name, geocode, duration from duration to reporting period time, month, entity name, price range, and reporting period, which is basically our text field. Everything you select in your key column automatically deselected in your data columns. In this case, it is what we want, but be aware of for everything you unselect, you will lost after workflow run. Let's click run and we'll see what we get. All the price data now is in the load format. You can see two additional columns. It is name, which is name of the numeric columns, and value, which is number by itself. It might be not that easy to get it from that kind of view, but anyway, like we can compare how many fields we have now after we pivot our table. It's 11 fields and 576 records. Now let's double check how many fields and rows we had before our transposition. So you can see it was 15 fields and only 96 records. To change back to a white format of data or unpivoted, we'll be using crosstab tool. From this section, let's bring crosstab. It often makes confusion because of similar to picture, but it's easy to remember the difference between transpose and crosstab that way. Transpose makes rows and of course of a different configuration. You can see that transpose now have absolutely different configuration option. Group data by, similar to the key columns in the transpose tool, and we're going to select everything except of name and value. I'm going to select all and then uncheck name and value. It's going to be easier. In the column headers, we're going to select name, which has become our column headers again. Note that there is one of the speciality of the crosstab tool that is have the aggregation method, which is have to be specified. If you don't specify it, it will return you an error. So let's click sum and run our workflow again. Note that now the number of fields and rows back again like in the beginning. With that, we're heading to our last but definitely not least use case. Here we'll explore how reporting tools come to our aid, facilitating formatting, visualization, and smooth outputting. Reporting tools designed to create visually appealing and insightful reports. It simplifies the process of organizing and formatting data into meaningful tables, charts, and visuals, making it easier to present insights and results. So we're starting by bringing table tool from the reporting section and connect it in round. Table tool helps us to customize table with different formatting options, pivoting data, and adding visual elements. So let's configure it. And configuration window are going to make a bit bigger. So on the table mode, we'll select basic, and in the group by section, I will check your name and district average price. This configuration will create a separate table for each district. Over here, we can add visual element, just checking bar graph, and then can create it based on a specific field. It's going to be average price. Click in settings, define bar graph customization option, and even color mode. By default, it's set up to the single color. We can choose palette or formula and click three dots. And in the pop-up window, we'll write an if statement to color the bar chart depending on the price. It's a similar if statement we had before. So we started in if. We can choose a field from the existing fields. It's average price. We'll click on it. Less than 155,000. And I want it color in green, else if average price greater than 115,000 and color it in orange. You can pick whatever color you want. It's going to be pink, yellow, red. You can follow my color choice. Else, follow the rest in gray. Don't forget the close if statement with and if. And okay again. Before we run our workflow, we have to do one more formatting. Over here in the bottom section, there is a choice of formatting option. You can format entire table by clicking Create Row Rule, or you can conditionally format every field separately. To do this, simply click on the field and create button next to column rulers. This configuration window offers you a lot of options to format your table in way you prefer. So let's create the first rule. Name will be low price detector, and I want to add some condition. So we can use formula tool, or even simpler, we can use when pre-built function. So just simply choose the field. Our condition will be based on its average price less than 155,000. Then I'd like it to be different color. So I check background color and change it from white to whatever color I want. I will pick the green one and make it lighter. Click OK. Then I want to add prefix, the pound sign, and make the font bold. Cool. Now let's repeat this process for the high price detector. So let's create the new rule. Call it high price detector. When our average price greater than 215,000, then I'd like font to be bold. Add prefix, the pound sign as well. And now I'd like my background color be pink. Click OK and close it. The last thing I will do here is just avoid unnecessary fields. I no longer need name because we already create a table, separate table for each district, and I will avoid the average prices for the different type of property as well, just to make it more consistent. And I think we no longer need reported period time because it's just a field which contain only month text. To evaluate the result of my configuration, I'll need to run workflow, but first add browse tool. This necessary condition as reporting tools take a snippet of the data and it can be seen without browsing tool. So let's right click on our tool and click add browse tool after. I will put it on the top and click run. Looks good, isn't it? Now we have our average price highlighted in green if it's low, and pink or reddish if it's high, and also bar chart which shows minimum and maximum value for each table, and highlights maximum prices in orange and the lowest one in green. But let's go further and add some context by customizing the dynamic titles for this report using report text tool. Edit to the view and connect around. In the text mode, I will pick attach text to existing field just to edit, and then field name will be table. You can pick any position from the drop-down list. I'll pick above the table. And then directly dive into create our dynamic headers. So we can choose a field to change it dynamically. I will put our JName, which is district name, on the top of each table. And also I'd like to add some average price by district with no decimal places. So to make it more clear, I add some text that it's average price and prefix as well. So now let's customize a bit of, I make the journey is bold, and so you can use this special tags to add some object. I'm not gonna do this, but feel free to play around. So what I'm gonna do, I just want to change my background to, let's say, yellow, and make letters bigger. It's big 14. Click OK. So I did it that way, but feel free to pause this video and play around with the formatting option here as well to see the changes we made. So again, just right click on our tool and add browse tool after, then run workflow, and voila. Now we can clearly see which table belongs to which district, and even say at the first glance that Boston and Lincoln have lowest prices and the highest prices in South Caston. There's a good example how visualization helps you to gain insights quickly. And I proceed to the next step, which involves using a layout tool to help me visualize how the report will look like. So let's add layout tool. This tool groups section in containers. If you use Tableau, you can compare it with layout container, which allows you to place object in dashboard in different ways, side to side, left to right, and so on. So first of all, we can choose layout mode. So I'll pick each group of records and group by journey. Now we are grouping section in the containers, and this configuration will place containers in the separate tabs of our output file and change orientation from horizontal to vertical with section breaks. When we choose this, the section name field appear as an additional configuration, and here we'll pick geo name to assign district name to tabs rather than have for them just sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. We can specify the section name as a geo name. Here you could also play around with the formatting options. And as a final step to output created report, use the render tool. In output mode, choose desired format. I go with the Excel spreadsheet. Note that all output options are temporary. That's why you cannot choose to save the output file in a specific place, but it will appear as a link in the result window after we run workflow. We'll show you in a minute. That's pretty much all of the configuration I have for the render tool, and then run our workflow. If we click on the white space, we can see now in the result window there is a link for Excel file. If we click on it, tada! We have our output created with a tab for each district formatting the way we configured. This output can be saved for whatever you want from here. So let's alternatively create one more output as a PDF. This time in output mode, let's choose PDF document and add a bit more configuration for this. The paper side, make it A4, and the orientation will be landscape. Run as usual, click somewhere, and voila, we can see there's another link created for the PDF. The advantage of the PDF reports is that people cannot amend the data in them.
Thank you for watching this module. I have had a great time teaching you today. In this module, we covered formulas and function, data join, pivoting, formatting, and visualization. I hope you are able to put what you learned in this module into practice soon. If you want to continue with our Alteryx data skills training course, the next module is 105, finding and using real-world data. You can jump straight to it by clicking on the next video thumbnail on the right. And if you'd like us to help you and your team boost your data skills, please reach out at info@theinformationlab.co.uk. Lastly, remember to subscribe to this channel to get notified when we release new videos. Looking forward to seeing you in our next session.